Welcome back to Drive&rpm. Today, we need to have a serious conversation. It is a conversation about power, about control, and about the very machinery that makes our modern world move. If you look at the traffic on the M25 in London, the Autobahn in Germany, or the Pacific Highway in Australia, you see metal, rubber, and glass. But if you look with the eyes of global economics, you see something else entirely. Dependency. We are witnessing the end of the oil age, but we are not entering an age of energy freedom. We are trading one master for another. Instead of the sheikhs of the Middle East, the new masters of the 21st century sit in sterilized boardrooms in the southeast of China. There is a single entity that holds the keys to global mobility. If they decided to turn off the tap tomorrow, the electric vehicle revolution in Europe and Australia would not just slow down. It would collapse instantly. The assembly lines at Volkswagen would halt. BMW's Neue Klasse would remain a drawing on a page. Even the mighty Tesla would face a catastrophic supply shock that could cripple its stock price overnight. We are not just talking about a battery manufacturer. We are talking about CATL, Contemporary Amperex Technology Co Limited. This is the giant that has weaponized chemistry. They don't just lead the market. They are the market. They control more than 37% of the global battery supply. That means more than 1 in every 3 electric cars on Earth runs on their blood. Today, on Drive&rpm, we are going to dissect the monster. We will take you deep inside the Lighthouse Factory in Ningde, the most advanced manufacturing facility in human history. We will reveal the secret technology behind the new Chery partnership that allows cars to drive over 1,000 kilometers without stopping, shattering the concept of range anxiety forever. And we will explain why governments in Canberra, Berlin, and Washington are watching this company not with admiration, but with cold, existential fear. Prepare yourselves. The future is electric, but the power switch is in China. To understand the threat, we must understand the architect. CATL wasn't born in a Silicon Valley garage with billions in venture capital and free-spirited idealism. It was born in the strategic mind of Robin Zeng, a man from a humble village in Ningde who possesses the calculation skills of a grandmaster. The official story says he is a physicist. The real story? He is a high-stakes gambler who never bluffs. In the late 90s, while the world was obsessed with the dot-com bubble, Zeng was looking at something much smaller, the batteries inside portable devices. He founded ATL and made a massive bet on lithium polymer technology, batteries that were thin, flexible, and could be molded into any shape. He won that hand. ATL became the exclusive battery supplier for Apple's iPods and later the iPhone. He was already in your pocket, and you didn't even know it. But Zeng knew the smartphone game had a ceiling. In 2011, he saw the writing on the wall. He realized that the Chinese Communist Party was about to force a transition to electric vehicles on a scale the West couldn't comprehend. He did the unthinkable. He sliced his own company in half. He sold the consumer electronics division and created CATL to focus 100% on automotive power. It was a move of insane risk. At the time, electric cars were seen as glorified golf carts. But fortune favors the bold and the politically connected. The Chinese government created a white list of approved battery suppliers. To get subsidies in China, the world's largest car market, you had to use Chinese batteries. Foreign giants like LG, Panasonic, and Samsung were effectively locked out. CATL grew up in a protected walled garden, fed by massive state contracts and, crucially, a partnership with BMW. The Germans taught CATL how to build to automotive standards. In return, CATL learned how to dominate them. By the time the walls came down and the global market opened, it was too late for the West to compete. CATL was no longer a startup. It was an industrial titan that could crush anyone on price and volume. Let's talk about firepower. What makes CATL a threat isn't just money. It is a level of industrial precision that borders on science fiction. Their headquarters in Ningde is recognized by the World Economic Forum as a lighthouse factory. This is the Nobel Prize of manufacturing. Forget the images of 20th century car plants. Loud, dirty, smelling of oil and sweat. Entering a CATL facility is like stepping into a biological containment unit. The floors are white. The air is filtered, and there are almost no humans. The production line operates at a speed the human eye struggles to process. They produce a battery cell every 1.7 seconds while you take a single breath. They have manufactured 2 cells in a single facility. They have the capacity to produce between 60 to 100 gigawatt hours per year. To put that in perspective, for years, the entire output of the Gigafactory in Nevada couldn't touch these numbers. But the real terror for European engineers lies in the defect rates. In the traditional auto industry, we measure defects in parts per million, ppm. If you have a few bad parts in a million, you are doing well. CATL looked at that standard and laughed. They abolished it. They work with ppb, parts per billion. They use a centralized AI system linked to thousands of 5G ultra-resolution cameras that scan the microscopic coating of electrodes in real time. If there is a flaw the size of a micron, a fraction of a human hair, the AI detects it and self-corrects the machine instantly, without ever stopping the line. This is extreme manufacturing. It allows them to have the lowest cost per kilowatt hour in the world. They win on margin, they win on volume, and they win on quality. It is a money-printing machine fueled by lithium. Having the best factory is useless if the product is inferior, but CATL has turned chemistry into a weapon. They don't rely on a single silver bullet. They have a machine gun of technologies. First, they mastered LFP, lithium iron phosphate. For years, Western automakers ignored LFP because it had low energy density. It was seen as cheap and heavy. CATL ignored the critics. They refined the chemistry and invented CTP, cell-to-pack technology. Instead of putting cells into modules and modules into packs, wasting space with heavy cables and steel framing, CATL integrated the cells directly into the vehicle structure. They turned the battery into the skeleton of the car. This allowed them to pack more energy into the same space, making LFP viable for the masses. But their crown jewel is the Kiln battery, released recently. The Kiln is an engineering masterpiece. It utilizes 72% of the volume for active energy material, a world record. The secret lies in the cooling. In traditional batteries, cooling plates are at the bottom. It's inefficient. In the Kiln, CATL inserted liquid cooling plates between the cells, like a sandwich. This quadruples the heat transfer area. Why does this matter to you? Because it allows the battery to charge from 10% to 80% in just 10 minutes. It essentially eliminates the risk of thermal runaway fires, and it delivers ranges that were previously thought impossible. And just when the competition thought they could catch up, CATL unveiled the condensed matter battery. This is the atomic bomb of the industry. It has an energy density of 500 watt-hours per kilogram. For context, the battery in a standard Tesla Model Y hovers around 260 to 270. CATL has nearly doubled that. This isn't just for cars. 500 watt-hours per kilogram is the magic number needed for electric aviation. CATL is already working on electric passenger planes. They don't just want to own the Autobahn or the Australian highways. They want to own the skies. 300 kilometers of freedom. Here is where the rubber meets the road. Literally, CATL knows it doesn't build cars. It needs hosts to carry its virus. And Chery is the perfect host for global expansion. Chery is one of China's largest exporters and is aggressively entering the European and Australian markets with cars that are better built and cheaper than their Western rivals. Recently, the automotive world shook with the announcement of Chery's new battery line, under the brand Kunpeng, which promises an insane range of 1,300 to 1,500 kilometers. Let's stop and really think about what that number means. For our viewers in Europe, 1,300 kilometers means you can drive from London to Florence on a single charge. You can drive from Berlin to Rome without stopping at a charger. It turns a cross-continent expedition into a simple drive. For our viewers in Australia, where range anxiety is a genuine survival instinct, that is driving from Sydney to Adelaide, or tackling the vast emptiness of the Nullarbor Plain with confidence. It effectively kills the argument against EVs in the outback. This technology, classified as solid-state or semi-solid battery tech, is the holy grail andine of the industry. It replaces the flammable liquid electrolyte with a solid material, making the battery safer and far more energy dense. Although Chery announced this under their Kunpeng brand, the infrastructure, the research, and the supply chain are led by CATL. This partnership is a death sentence for legacy automakers. Imagine a Volkswagen ID.4 or a Ford Mustang Mach-E trying to sell for 60,000 euros with 500 km of range, while a Chery vehicle powered by CATL sits next to it, offering 300 km, 15-minute charging, and a lower price tag. It's not a competition, it's a commercial massacre. The legacy brands are bringing knives to a nuclear gunfight. The recycling monopoly. There is one more layer to this dominance that almost nobody talks about. What happens when these batteries die? CATL has already solved this. They own a subsidiary called Brump Recycling. While Europe and Australia are still debating how to recycle batteries, Brump is already recovering 99.3% of the nickel, cobalt, and manganese, and 90% of the lithium from used batteries. Think about the implications of this. As they sell more batteries, they eventually get those raw materials back. They become their own mine. Over the next decade, CATL's cost of materials will drop even further because they won't need to dig as much out of the ground. They will just harvest the urban mine of old cars. This creates a closed loop that Western companies, who are scrambling just to build their first factories, cannot compete with. It is an economic fortress that gets stronger with every battery they sell. This brings us to the corridors of power in Washington, Brussels, Plaquemines, and Canberra. The West has woken up, but they have woken up in a cold sweat. They have realized that the green transition is, in effect, a transfer of geopolitical power to China. The United States government is in full panic mode. They see dependence on Chinese batteries as a national security risk greater than oil dependence in the 1970s. If China were to enter a direct conflict, say Iwakuis over Taiwan, Beijing wouldn't need to fire a single missile. They would simply forbid CATL from exporting. The American and European auto industries would grind to a halt in weeks. In Europe, the situation is critical. The German automotive industry, the backbone of the European economy, is being hollowed out. They are becoming mere assemblers of Chinese technology. Audi, Mercedes, VW, they are all buying CATL cells because they cannot produce them cheaper or better themselves. The soul of the car, the engine, is gone, replaced by a battery made in Ningde. For Australia, the irony is bitter. Australia supplies a massive amount of the raw lithium that CATL uses. We dig it up, ship it to China, they add the value, and sell it back to us as high-tech batteries at a premium. It is the classic dig and ship trap. Australia holds the minerals, but China holds the processing and the intellectual property. CATL has secured the supply chain so tightly that no matter where the world digs, whether it's cobalt in the Congo or nickel in Indonesia, the profit ends up in Ningde. CATL is not just a company. It is a phenomenon. It is the symbol of a new world order, where the East doesn't just copy the West, it surpasses it. Robin Zeng started by disassembling iPod batteries to see how they worked. Today, he has disassembled the global automotive supply chain and rebuilt it with himself at the center, with 300-kilometer batteries on the horizon, with condensed matter technology that could revolutionize aviation, and with a recycling monopoly that secures their future. CATL has checkmated the industry. Western governments are scrambling. Tariffs are being raised in the EU. Subsidies are being blocked in the US. Australia is trying to build its own refineries, but the question hanging over every major capital city is it already too late? While politicians debate and sign papers, the machines in Ningde keep running. Silent, fast, precise, and deadly to the competition. The internal combustion engine had a good run for 100 years. But the battery that will power your next car, your bus, and perhaps the plane you take for your next holiday will likely have Robin Zeng's fingerprints on it. This is Drive RPM. We don't just review cars. We analyze the power shifts that drive the world. If you want to stay ahead of the curve, make sure to subscribe. The world is changing fast, and you don't want to be left behind. Thanks for watching.